I'm looking at this Miami Philly. First of all, we haven't talked about Embiid yet. I really like Embiid. I think I get the saddest if you break it down like guys getting injured. Scale, you hate seeing anyone injured, but for Embiid, it feels like the guy just can't catch a break dating back to the 2014 draft when he gets hurt basically, in the weeks before the actual draft when it seemed like he was going to be the first pick. All of a sudden gets hurt. Bad break after bad break. Draws the short straw with Ben Simmons. The Kawhi bounce. He had all these different injuries. Seems like he was coming out of them. Hurts his thumb in round one and then gets elbowed in the face at the tail end of this game that was already a blowout. And, I was starting to talk myself into them maybe being frisky in that Miami series, Russillo. I heard Jeff Van Gundy on Zach Lowe's pod, and he picked Philly. He thought it was just a bad matchup for Miami. I was kind of mentally starting to go, at least like, I am not betting on Miami in this series. I don't know what's going to happen. So now it looks like Embiid's going to miss at least the first two games. He's going to have the mask on. You and I have both broken our orbital bones. This isn't like a pulled hamstring. This is not just like your face feels like it's broken, but it changes just how you feel about being aggressive, being around flying elbows, being around just basically anything. It's just in the back of your head. He's already had this injury before. So I don't want to write them off, but I think this is a really bad one. And I think they have to steal either game one or game two because of Harden. I don't see them being able to beat Miami 4 out of 5. I was bummed. What was your reaction when you heard? What's your reaction now?
Really bummed. I mean, through all the bullshit of all the MVP stuff, I think what got kind of lost in it is that, yes, there are certain guys that you're like, I don't really love that guy. I'm sure most of the audience could get 10 out of 10 if they try to pick, like, do these guys like this guy? Do they not like this guy? I've always liked Embiid. I really have, even when I wasn't sure. And when you think about the start of a career, missing the first 2 seasons and playing 31 games and the minutes restriction in your third year, that's usually not the start of some great story for an athlete. Although I think there were other circumstances with Hinkie just basically saying it's even better if we tank by not playing you guys right away, right? Which I always thought was a really good point by you, where is this the tone you want to set for your franchise? It wasn't an absolute. And with Embiid, it didn't mean anything. And in a weird way, I don't want to spend a ton of time on Simmons. It may have set the stage for a Simmons being like, you just kind of sort of hang out.
So my free throws don't matter. Okay, cool.
Nothing really matters. I'm not going to. You know what's crazy? Go back and look at Simmons and some of the usage and shooting stuff from his first year. I think he was 70% free throws. Like, he actually has gotten so much worse in some things. Anyway, this isn't about Simmons. It's about Embiid. The point is that this isn't even like an Embiid injury. This isn't one of those things where like, oh, this guy can't stay healthy. The thumb thing, I think you could tell he was still going to be able to play through it. And whenever we see the title of the injury, we don't know, because it's really about the person and we don't know the magnitude. The orbital bone thing, I'll never forget. Like, those first few days, I couldn't do anything. Like, I couldn't look left to right. It hurt so bad. It was like something was in my eye and it was like a pulled muscle every time.
Did you have the surgery or no? Because I had to have the surgery because like the bottom part of my eyeball was a little bit trapped.
Okay. So he was like, it's broken in 3 places. And he goes, if this were the South, because medicine is a business no matter what, it's like, we would put you under tonight and you'd be in surgery.
Yeah.
He goes, it's going to heal. It's going to hurt like shit for about a week. He goes, but it is going to heal. You're young. He goes, the only thing is your eye may settle back into your eye socket more as you get older, and it's going to look a little different than the other eyeball. He's like, but it's not like you're going to be, and then he goes, it's not like you're going to be on TV or anything. And I went, I go, we don't know that.
You're like, don't put limits on me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Ryen Russillo.
And by the way, there was no indication I was going to be in front of anything. So I'm like, I don't know, though.
We're both irrational confidence guys.
Absolutely. I'm 23. I've got nothing.
You're like, wait, don't you realize I'm hosting PTI in 10 years?
That feels a little specific for a joke. So, it'll be, it'll be like you said, it'll be kind of getting over worrying about it, which I think he will because he's so much more massive than everybody else. So he'll
have the mask on, right? They'll have some awesome mask that even if he gets hit in there, but still,
it's not great. It's not great, Bob.
Not ideal. And then we don't know like about the eyesight and all that stuff. And he's already banged up. And you're playing this team that's gonna be super physical with them because they're gonna know they're smart. And it's a bummer. I pinpointed the time when really fell in basketball love with Embiid, even though he's on, ostensibly a rival to the Celtics. But his reaction when Kawhi's shot went in, when he just immediately broke down and started crying on the court, I absolutely loved that. I loved how much he cared. You see these guys like, deep down, you're like, do you care? And I don't know why I care as a basketball fan. If these guys care, I shouldn't, especially I'm fucking old at this point. But like, I just love that. To me, it's like the fact that he cared that much. I was like, all right, this guy's going to be all right if he could just stay healthy. And I think what's happened with him the last 2 years, I don't think it's surprising based on just how much he wanted to win that series. It's like, I weirdly think that stuff matters, and in general, like I do feel like he checked all the boxes. He even got in awesome shape this year. And, the way they played that second half till he got hurt, I didn't think Philly had that in them. They ran Toronto off the court in a game that was a 1-point game at halftime. And you think like, were they building a foundation of something? Harden was springier, it felt like, than he was in a while. And then they have that Maxey wildcard piece when he's going. They have the three guys going. It's kind of hard. I was getting ready to talk myself into them, but the moment's gone.
Because you know what else Embiid is? He's a guy, like, I'm with you. I really like him, and him crying after the Toronto thing. And I think it's just kind of the nastiness of social media. I'd imagine the majority of people, they like that he cared, instead of turning it into like, hey, that guy cried because he's on the team that I don't
Loser.
like. But I want him to have his playoff moment. I want his stage to be on the second round here. Where with Simmons, I just felt like, okay, this is incredibly frustrating because you have this supposed, in theory, second star with you who's a little different and yet wants nothing to do with the moment. And then that leaves Embiid as a traditional big with your back to the basket, even though he is so good at kind of facing and moving off of it. Like when you're that big and you got these small guys flying around and double teaming you all the time, it's hard for you. I mean, it's harder for that to always be a successful move. As Sixers fans will tell you, like there's just a lot of possessions in there where it feels like Embiid's constantly balancing I'm the guy, force my will on somebody. He's so good at reading the double and making the pass. He's been great at it since college, but it's like, well, I can't read it and pass out of this every single time because then the guys on TNT are going to say that I'm not dominating enough. I almost feel like I can see that with him in some of those moments. So I want him personally at some point in his career to have that moment because I think he's deserving of it and he is that dominant. But
well, it goes back to the Windows thing. You think like, oh, it'll happen. If it's not this year, it'll happen next year. But we go through this all the time where
it happens to a lot of guys.
All of a sudden it's like, oh, I guess that was my window from 2018 to 2022 or 2019. That Toronto series to now, maybe that was the window. And then, he's a bigger guy, he's a center, he's carrying a lot of weight and just how that ages over the years. So I hope, I'm with you. I hope he has a moment.